What is goody? Senior Gustapa here, aka Leroy Jenkins. I'm going to be quickly going over the P90 SMG. I'm not going to be going over my favorite attachments. I will be making another video for that in the future. So right now I'm just going to be quickly going over the attachments. Let's get into it. First off, we have the muzzles. First off, for the muzzles, we have the flash guard. Pros, muzzle flash concealment. Cons, bullet velocity. Next up, the muzzle brake. Pros, recoil stabilization. Cons, aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Redirects gases outwards to stabilize the weapon for better control of sustained fire. Next up, the breacher device. Pros, melee damage. Cons, aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness. Enables one-hit melee kills. Next up is the lightweight suppressor. Pros, sound suppression. Cons, damage range. After that, the monolithic suppressor. Pros, sound suppression, damage range. Cons, aim down sight speed and aim walking steadiness. Now we have the compensator. Pros, recoil control. Cons, aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Expels gases upward to aggressively fight muzzle climb. Now we have the tactical suppressor. Pros, sound suppression. Cons, aim down sight speed and aim walking steadiness. Next up we have the barrels. First barrel, the forge, tack, retribution. Pros, damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control. Cons, aim down sight speed and movement speed. It's a 16-inch rifle barrel, greatly increases muzzle velocity and extends range. Additional weight stabilizes shots but hinders mobility. Now we have the FSS 10.6-inch Pro. Pros, damage range, bullet velocity. Cons, aim down sight speed. Next up, the lasers. First off, for the lasers, we have the 1 milliwatt laser. Pros, hipfire accuracy, and there are no cons. And the 1 milliwatt laser is not detectable by your enemies. Now we have the 5 milliwatt laser. Pros, hipfire accuracy, sprint to fire speed. Cons, laser visible to enemies. Improves hipfire accuracy and speeds up targeting after sprinting. Now we have the tack laser. Pros, aim down sight speed, aiming stability, aim walking steadiness. Cons, laser visible to enemy. Improves accuracy while aiming down sights, exposes position when active. Now we have the optics. First up, for the optics, the Solo Zero Optics Mini Reflex. Pros, precision sight picture. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we have the Operator Reflex Sight. Pros, precision sight picture. Cons, aim down sight speed. Next up, the Corp Combat Hollow Sight. Pros, precision sight picture. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we have the Viper Reflex Sight. Pros, precision sight picture. Cons, aim down sight speed. Next up, the GI Mini Reflex. Pros, precision sight picture. Cons, aim down sight speed. Thin frame for an unobstructed sight picture. Now we have the Scout Combat Optic. Pros, zoom level. Cons, aim down sight speed. It's a 3.25 times magnification for long range targeting. Now we have the AP X5 Holographic Sight. Pros, precision sight picture. Cons, aim down sight speed. Next up, the Cronin LP945 Mini Reflex. Pros, precision sight picture. Cons, aim down sight speed. It's a circular reflex frame from Cronin. Keeps the focus on the target. Now we have the FSS Ring Sight. Pros, precision sight picture. Cons, aim down sight speed. Provides higher precision. Next up, the VLK 3.0 times optic. 3.0 times magnification provides reliable targeting. Pros: zoom level, cons: aim down sight speed. Next up, the Solo Zero NVG enhanced. Advanced 3.25 Gen 3 night vision with thermal overlay for enhanced situational awareness, not compatible with night vision goggles. Pros: thermal target identification and zoom level. Cons: aim down sight speed. Now we have the Integral Hybrid 3.25 times Scout with Integral Reflex Sight for quickly transitioning between sights. Pros: Reflex and Scout toggle and zoom level. Cons: aim down sight speed. Now we have the Monocle Reflex Sight. Low intrusion frame for improved targeting or target tracking. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aim down sight speed. Now we have the PBX Hollow 7 sight. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aim down sight speed. Next up, the Cronin C480 Pro Optic. 3.5 times magnification provides excellent targeting. Pros: zoom level. Cons: aim down sight speed. Next up, the Canted Hybrid 3.25 times Scout with a side mounting reflex sight lets you change engagement distances with a flick of the wrist. Pros: reflex and Scout toggle and zoom level. Cons: aim down sight speed. Now we have the Aim Op Reflex Sight. Provides higher precision. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aim down sight speed. Next up, the Thermal Hybrid 3.25 times Thermal Scope side mounting reflex sight toggles thermal imaging with a flick of the wrist. Not compatible with night vision goggles. Pros: reflex and thermal toggle and zoom level. Cons: aim down sight speed. Last, for the optics, we have the Merc Thermal Optic. 3.25 times scope with thermal imaging highlights targets and provides visibility in all lighting conditions. Not compatible with night vision goggles. Pros: thermal target identification and zoom level. Cons: aim down sight speed. Now we are on to the stocks. First off, for these stocks, Forge Tech CQB Comb. Pros: aim down sight speed. Cons: aiming stability. Gets you on target faster. Next up, the Fly Strap. Pros: sprint to fire speed, aim walking movement speed. Cons: aiming stability. Clip-on strap improves fast-paced weapon handling. Last, for these stocks, the FSS Heavy Stock Pro. Pros: aiming stability. Cons: aim walking movement speed. Provides stability while aiming. Next up, we have the Underbarrels. First up, the Granulated Grip Tape. Pros: aiming stability. Cons: movement speed. And it provides a relaxed and controlled grip for precision aiming. Now we have Stippled Grip Tape. Pros: recoil control, aiming stability. Cons: aim walking movement speed and aim down sight speed. Improves vertical recoil and stabilizes aiming for improved long-range combat. Now we have the Rubberized Grip Tape. Pros: recoil control. Cons: aim down sight speed. Keeps gun tight in hand for improved recoil control. This gun has no ammunition selection. So now it's on to the rear grips. First up, the Stippled Grip Tape. Pros: aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed. Cons: aiming stability. Less stable but very agile. Now we have the Granulated Grip Tape. Aiming stability and aim walking steadiness are the pros. Cons: aim walking movement speed. Keeps you steady and on target. And last, for the rear grips, we have the Rubberized Grip Tape. Pros: recoil control. Cons: aiming stability. Less steady but helps control recoil. Last but not least, for the P90, we have the perks. First off, rangeable wounding. Bullets cause target healing to be briefly delayed. Next up, heavy hitter. Melee produces greater stun on targets. After that, FMJ increases bullet penetration and damage against equipment and kill streaks. Then we have fully loaded. Start with maximum reserve ammo. After that, frangible disabling. Bullets slow enemy movement, and briefly disable tactical sprint when shooting legs. Now we have Mo Money, earn additional XP for kills, headshot XP. After that, sleight of hand for reload quickness. And after that is recon, see enemy nameplates at greater distances. Last but not least, we have fast melee for melee quickness. And that is it for the P90 SMG. Like I said, I will be making a video in the future about my favorite attachments for this gun, but until then, have a great day and peace.